So we're going to answer 5 questions today, 5 of the most frequently asked questions about the Storytelling You. Question number 1, who is this for? I've been getting this question a lot over the last week. Okay, so the Storytelling You is for aspiring or established long-form writers. Former students have included everyone from a New York Times best-selling author to college students, like just starting out as journalists and storytellers. The curriculum in 8 modules and over 60 lessons is for long-form reporters and writers. But if you're a producer of a serialized podcast, if you're a reporter for a long-form web video series, if you're a producer or reporter for a news channel and you aspire to write pieces of greater depth and complexity, it is not a stretch to see how the Storytelling You can work for you as well. Now, as someone who's worked across multiple platforms, from printed magazines to TV news magazine shows to serialized podcasts, I will say there are some differences across mediums, right? That's a given. That being said, though, it's nothing your imagination and adaptive mind can't surmount. I'd argue that about 90% of the insights in the Storytelling You are applicable to the people I just mentioned, the producers for serialized podcasts, the TV reporters or producers who want to air stories of greater depth and complexity, right? So one final thought as we're talking about who this is for. If you're a teacher or a professor whose job is to shape the next generation of long-form storytellers, this course is 100% for you as well. In fact, if you are that teacher or professor, I would love nothing more than you taking the insights from the Storytelling You and applying it in your own curriculum. Like, let's create like a mighty army of great storytellers. Wait. Okay, so that might actually be a mixed metaphor there, but you know what? I'm gonna allow it because Tacitus wrote about the Roman conquest of Britain from the front lines, and Tacitus has influenced 2 millennia worth of writers with that great line of his. You know, they make a desert and they call it peace. I just love that line. All right, so we're gonna allow it. Moving on. Question number 2. Why are you charging $1,199 for this? Fantastic question. I talked about this in the video I released Monday, but to reframe it, let's talk about the actual value of the course. So if you consider the one-on-one work I do with clients is $500 an hour, and if you consider that you'll have up to 12 hours of that level of attention from me in our Ask Me Anything sessions, that means the value of just those Ask Me Anything sessions is $6,000. And if you consider that you're getting another bonus as well within the Storytelling You, the bonus module on book writing, well, now that is something else to consider, because we will, and likely next year, release a separate course on book writing. And that separate course will be based on the roughly $1 million worth of revenue I've netted from books over the last 5 years. So when we release the course on book writing, we will very likely retail that course for $2,500. You will get it for signing up for the Storytelling You right now for free. Now, we're also bringing the value of the Storytelling You to $8,500 in total if you add those two up, right? But then there's the value of a single lesson in this 8-module course, the 7 layers deep exercise. This is basically the means to ask better questions of yourself. This is an interview technique that certain entrepreneurs have used, and one that, when it's taught, retails to Silicon Valley tech founders for $20,000 a day. This sort of self-questionnaire is incredibly helpful for writers too. You know, I use it with my clients, and it's changed how they think about, kind of everything. So that brings the value of the Storytelling You to $28,500. And lastly, there's the actual curriculum itself. As I said on Monday, I'm not going to say my course is as valuable as a 4-year degree or a master's in fine arts, but my former students will say that. I offered a prototype of the Storytelling You to a select number of students last year. One of them was a senior at the University of Texas named Joe Levin. Here's what Joe said after completing the prototype of the Storytelling You. I would 100% say that Paul's course was more applicable, helpful, and inspiring than every J school class I've taken. A 4-year degree at the University of Texas retails for $58,516 right now. Another guy who took the prototype of the Storytelling You was a guy named J. Brian Charles. He's a magazine writer and investigative reporter, and he got his MFA a while back. And here's what Brian said when he finished the prototype of the Storytelling You. Absolutely love the course. It was wonderful. It's on par with anything I took during my MFA. Now, an MFA in journalism from Columbia, it'll currently cost you $116,805, and that's if you complete it in 9.5 months. And most MFAs there take 2 years and cost nearly $200,000. And that's according to the school's website. So Joe said my course had a greater value than anything he took at the University of Texas. Brian said my course was on par with his MFA. All right. Combine those statements, and that easily places the value of the Storytelling You at $100,000. And why do I say easily? Because, well, Joe and Brian, just to repeat, they took a prototype of the course I'm offering you. A prototype that had just 1/4 of the material that is in this iteration of the Storytelling You. This edition is so much more robust than what I offered last year. So that brings the total value of the Storytelling You altogether to $128,500. And I'm offering it for $11.99 this time. Yes, this is the first and last time the course will ever be valued at $11.99. Going forward, we will price it higher, certainly more in line with its underlying value. So if you're interested in getting the Storytelling You, for real, like now is the time to do it. Moving on. Question number 3. You've already released an hour of instruction in the free workshop. Thank you. How much more could you possibly cover? First off, you're welcome. And second off, oh my goodness, there is so much more in this course. Let's actually use the lessons from the free workshop because I think they're actually instructive. Okay, so the first lesson in that workshop, the and rule. Love the and rule. Who doesn't, right? But the and rule, it only works if you know how to write the actual email to the publication, especially if you're new to long form. And the Storytelling You uses the actual emails. Like we look at the actual emails I used when pitching the New Yorker and GQ to give you a sense of what I did with those sorts of publications. You can do this too, right? And of course, if you are an aspiring long form writer, the and rule or anything else, it won't help you if you're not taking the time every day to improve as that long form writer. So I hear from so many people, I want to write a book. I want to write long form pieces. I just don't have the time though. The Storytelling You shows you how to create the time so you can pursue your passion without sacrificing your existing life. Okay, again, because I think this is helpful, let's look at the next 2 lessons in the workshop as well. All right, the second in that workshop is the Holy Triumvirate of Questions. Fantastic lesson. Love it. But it's not going to solve your problems if you aren't asking short questions and starting your questions from the beginning of the best possible moment and realizing when you need to ask and when you need to shut up. And realizing what sort of person you're interviewing and how to adjust if they're a type A personality or a more reserved personality, an introvert or an extrovert. The Storytelling You covers all that stuff and so much more. We dedicated effectively 3 whole modules to the art and craft of reporting because that's how important it is. It's not just about the Holy Triumvirate. So, you take what you can from the Holy Triumvirate questions, but please know that the course just offers just a ton more insight than that. Okay, lastly, let's look at the path from ignorance to enlightenment. Love that path. Walking that thing has transformed my career and that of my clients. But guess what? Knowing that path to enlightenment, it's not going to help you after you file the story. We've got a whole module about how to deal with editors, good and bad. And guess what? That path to enlightenment is certainly not going to be able to assist you after the story is published and you want to write another one in a media environment that is just convulsing from change, from publications closing, from editors leaving for other shops. a time when every writer is asked to be ever more entrepreneurial, we have a whole module just on what it's like to be a writer right now and how to learn to rely on yourself more and more to get by. I shared this course with the dean of the journalism school at Iowa State, where I graduated from college. He isolated that single module on entrepreneurship, on how to thrive on your own as a storyteller. He said to me, I would want to offer a course just on that module. We are looking at perhaps pursuing something like that down the road, but I share it with you now just so you know what others think of the course, people in a position of authority who've had a sneak peek at it already. Okay, question number 4. What does the storytelling you actually look like? That's actually a very good question, because if you want to buy this thing, what does the thing actually look like inside the online portal? Okay, so let's step out of this for a second so you can see the storytelling you for yourself. Okay, so welcome inside the storytelling you. This is a welcome video from me that you see right now. Let's actually take you to the top here. Here's the first thing you're going to see, right? You're going to say, when you come in, this is the storytelling you. This is how much you've completed. You can search any of these lessons by individual title. Once we get into it here, I want to show you I talked earlier about the 8 modules we have here. 1, 2. We've got actually 3 here that are in some manner they are just about reporting. All right, that's all they concern. Then we've got a whole module that's just on story structure. Then we've got a whole module that what to think about when you're writing. Then a whole module on how to deal with editors, good and bad. Whole module there of how to get more enterprising. All right. Each of these lessons, and this is the first, we'll go here first. This is the foundation. And so this is just like, a lot of these are just me speaking to the camera and then me kind of speaking like this. So let's go ahead and click on this. We've got I want to pause this real quick. Just real quick, we've got every single lesson, right? You can download some notes so that you can keep as you're going through each individual lesson. All right, so then you're going to go ahead and click this button to complete and continue. Once you do complete this course, over here we've got a discussion that we're going to be having on the side. You can go ahead and add your comments there. When we are doing the Ask Me Anything sessions, I'll be relying on some of the discussion points that arise within any of these lessons, within any of these modules. So let's just look here. Why you should keep a journal. That's the first one. A lot of people talk about how can I start? So this first lesson is all about that. So the first step to writing better is writing more, and the first step to writing more is writing every day. I heard that adage something like, all right, so I'm just going to pause that real quick because, hopefully you get the sense of it. I'm going to go back here. So this is what you see, right? Now we're asking, we want you guys to complete this within 3 months, and we feel that this is a decent pace at which to complete this material. Some of these lessons are up to 40 minutes. Some of them, though, are just like 10 to 15. A lot of them you're going to want to try to think and reflect after you take them, which is why I at least personally feel that you should be taking them about once a day. But that's it. That's pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's move on. Question number 5, and this is the question, the question everyone in every question they pose is effectively asking. What kind of results can I expect from the storytelling you? The answer, immediate and long-term results. So let's break that down. The immediate result is that when you finish all the modules in the storytelling you sit in on all the AMA style sessions I'll host on Zoom. You'll have just a ton of knowledge on how to execute stories. You'll have what it took me decades to learn, and you'll have it in a matter of days. Not a bad deal for you. But there are also the long-term benefits of the storytelling you. So that's just like basically all the ways you can take the knowledge and apply it continually to your own pieces and your own career. You can iterate off of the course. The people who took the people who took the prototype of the Storytelling You, they still tell me 1 year later how much that course helped them. And again, that prototype offered like 1/4 of what's in this iteration of the Storytelling You. You will get so much more from it just simply because there's, again, just simple math, there's 3/4 more material than last year's. But I feel like when you all have asked that question, what kind of results can I expect from the Storytelling You? I feel like there's actually a deeper question you're really getting at. In fact, many of you have asked that deeper question. How do I know this course is right for me in my circumstances in life? And here's my answer to that. If you are hungry, if you want to improve, if you want to change your storytelling and transform your life along the way, if you want more from your stories and your life, this course is for you. This course is for you. How do I know that? Because you're asking questions like that, first off, because you've joined me here at the end of this frequently asked questions video. You want to improve. You want to tell the sort of stories that you're proud of, that earns the respect of your peers. You want to tell the sort of stories that endure. You want to lead the sort of life that satisfies you. So do it. Sign up now. The registration for the Storytelling You closes tomorrow.